Hey YouTube fam, welcome back. Thank you so much for being here. I taught this mobility sequence inside of a yoga class recently, in person, in real life here in Seattle, and I got the request to put the mobility sequence here online for it to be repeated and accessed by itself. So this will not be a full-length practice. We won't start in meditation and end in Shavasana. We're just going to isolate this mobility practice for the hips, a little bit for the knees, for the ankles, for the feet, and we'll get into the hamstrings and some stretchy, fluid, flossy movement for the back line of the legs as well. All of that said, and the hips, becomes a whole lower body situation if we're being honest. Okay, so grab a block and set it up at the back of the mat, and then you're gonna find yourself seated on the shins with the hips to the block. And to start, you can find just a little bit of a wiggle of the hip side to side so you can find kind of a neutral space. Then stack the shoulders on top of the hips. And one time, let's take a slow inhale through the nose. A slow exhale through the nose all the way to the bottom. And as breath finds its rhythm and as you kind of collect yourself here onto your mat, we're going to shift our weight left and swing the right foot around so that you can plant the right foot to the floor out in front of you. And now that we've landed here, it's possible that you need to kind of move the block to support your right cheek a little bit better. You want to be on the top of the left foot, left toes untucked. And if this feels already hard, like compressed in the hips, you can stack a second block on top of this one to pull the hips up higher. Now lift all 5 toes up off the floor. And one at a time, you're going to piano key the pinky toe, and then the next 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 toe. I think that was 5 until all 5 toes have gripped the mat and you hug them in towards the center of the foot. Think of even kind of squeezing the heel of the right foot towards the block. And then lift all 5 toes up, and then one at a time, you piano key them down. Now you're going to repeat this a couple of times, and if you're watching your foot and you're telling it to do things and not much is happening, know that you're not alone in that, and that's really good information for you about some work that you have to do, some work that you get to do to restore the mobility that is possible and that is really essential for our feet. And if you need to use the hands to help the toes do the things that your brain is asking them to do, you can. You can use the hands to help kind of build that mind-body connection. Find just 1 or 2 more. And then next time all the toes have gripped the mat, pause there. Now squeeze the heel in towards the block. Now get tall through the spine, and can you lift the right foot to a hover above the floor? And think of hugging the right thigh into the right rib cage, but without leaning your body forward. And then drop the right foot to the floor. And then lift it up, drive it up, hike it up, and then lower it down. And then one more time, lift it up now. Keep it lifting. Extend the right leg out long in front of you. Go slow about this. Pull the right toes back towards you. Lift the foot even a little bit higher. You might even bring the hands to the top of the right thigh and press the hands into the thigh and pull the thigh into the hands. Resist it. And now lower the right heel to the floor for a count of 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. Tap the heel to the mat. Lift it back up for 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Lower 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. Tap. Last one. Lift 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Lower 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Lower the heel to the floor. Now bend into the right knee with or without the help of the hands. Send the hips all the way forward. So think of right knee tractioning way past the right ankle. Scrub the right hip back, left hip forward. Now re-straighten the right leg and send the hips all the way back to the block. Maybe you lift the right foot up for a moment. Slow, lower it down. We're going to repeat this. Heel to the floor, bend into the right knee, and shift the hips forward. Straighten through the right leg, pull it back, lift the right foot all the way up. Lower the right heel all the way down. Now we're going to bend into the right knee, shift it forward. Bring the hands to the top of the right thigh. This time press into the top of the left foot so your left toes are not tucked. Can you lift the left knee from the mat? Think of tucking the tailbone down, scrubbing the right heel back and the left foot forward. Be here for 5, 4. If you want a little bit more, arms extend up overhead. Final 3, 2. Drop the left knee to the mat. Now, bring palms to touch at the heart. You might shift forward a little bit so you can get onto the kind of the top of the left quad a little bit. Can you squeeze the left heel into the glutes? And then send the leg back out long. 2 more times like this. Squeeze the left heel into the glutes and then send it out long. Now, can you squeeze the left heel into the glutes? Hold your depth, be there for a moment. Scrub the right heel back and the left knee forward. Now the block is still where it's been. You're gonna cross the left toes over the block and pivot them over to the right, and then sink into this shape. So drive the right knee forward, maybe the right forearm comes to the top of the right thigh, maybe the left arm comes up and over, you've landed in this funky side angle pose. Okay, from here, straighten through the right leg, pivot the right foot flat so that it's parallel to the short edge of the mat, and bring the left hand down to the block. Right fingertips reach up and over. Before we go anywhere else here, can you press into left hand and into right foot, and can you lift the left knee up off the floor? Think of driving the left heel to the space behind you and left knee towards left wrist. Pull the hips up high, drive the left heel back, and then soften the left knee to the floor. Now, get a good grip with the fingertips around the block, left fingertips around the block. And we're gonna come all the way up to standing on the legs as they are. Slide the right hand down the right thigh and bring the block with you. And when you make it to the top, you're not gonna be, once you make it to the top, you're not gripping the fingertips around the block. You're just kind of letting the block rest on top of the palm. Right hand down right thigh. Length up the left side body. Now, as you grip the fingertips back to the block, we're gonna lower the block to the floor for a count of 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, right fingertips reach up and over, length down the right side. We're gonna leave the block on the floor exactly where it is and where it was, so putting it back where it came from. Now we're gonna lift the upper body back up through middle. We get to come out the way we came in, so right toes pivot to the top of the mat and bend into the right knee. Now as you squeeze left heel into the glutes, you're gonna roll it over the top of the block, and you're landing back into this lunge shape. Straighten through the right leg, pull the hips back, delivering your right cheek right back onto the block. Okay, hands come to the base of the skull. We're not quite done yet, and then we get to repeat this whole thing on the other side. Hands come to the base of the skull, elbows are wide. Let's start by kind of this flossy, twisty rotation left and right. Think of twisting left elbow forward, right elbow back, and then swap it left and right, and pick up your pace a lot. And I invite you to close down the eyes. Here for another 5. 4, can you pick up your pace, get taller through the spine, drive the elbows to the space behind you. And then find middle and pause there. Get taller through the crown. Maybe reopen the eyes, hinge at the hips, and drive the heart forward. Keep driving the elbows up to the sky. Drive into the right heel, bring it all the way back to the top. A couple more times, hinge forward. Drive it to the top. Hinge it forward. Drive it up. Last one, hinge it forward, pause. Really dig the right heel into the mat, a soft bend into the right knee. You might even cactus out the arms or reach the arms to airplane wings. And then on your exhale, simply fold over the right leg as it is. We're not gonna be here for long. Give it a breath or two. Think of pulling the right pinky toe towards the right outer hip. Now as you inhale, walk the hands back towards you. Dig the right heel into the mat, and then slide the right heel up the mat towards the right glutes. We've done these before, just throwing them in for the fun of it. Let's press into the feet as they are. And drive it all the way to stand. Send the hips forward, engage into the glutes. Bend into the knees, lower the hips all the way down. Drive it to the top. Lower it down. Drive it to the top. Lower it down. Last one, drive it to the top. Pause. Reach the arms up and over. Right hand catches left wrist. Lean up and out and over to the right. Maybe you even bend at the left elbow. Really at both elbows. And come back through middle. Bend into both knees and lower the hips all the way down. Okay, we get to do that whole thing on the other side. Let's start by swinging the right shin around. Maybe wiggle the hips left and right. Again, find your neutral space. Feel into the difference between right side, left side of the body. And then planting into the right leg as it is, swing the left foot around. And start, if you need to readjust where the block is at now, you can. Start by really gripping all of your toes to the mat. Hug them in towards the center of the foot. And then lift all of your toes up and one at a time, piano key the toes to the mat. And then repeat. Again, if you need to use the hands for help to build that mind-body connection, you can. Next time all the toes have really gripped to the mat, pause there. Think of scrubbing the heel towards the block. And then tall through the spine, can you lift the left foot up off the mat? Without the help of the hand, just lift the left foot up. And then lower it down. And then drive it up, left thigh towards left rib cage. And lower it down. One more time, drive it up, hold there. Straighten through the left leg, as straight as you can. Maybe even hands to the top of the left thigh and press into the thigh and then resist that. Be here for 5, 4, 3, 2. You lower the left leg to the mat for 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. Tap, lift it to the top for 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Lower 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Lift 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Lower 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Lower it all the way down and then drive it forward, bending into the left knee, send the hips forward. Think of scrubbing the left hip back, left heel back, and the right knee forward onto the mat. And then re-straighten through the left leg, send the hips all the way to the block. Maybe you lift the left foot up and then lower it all the way down and send it forward. Straighten through the left leg, pull the hips back. Lift the left foot high as you can and slowly lower it down. Bend into the left knee, drive it forward. Pause this time. Right knee stacks on top of right heel, left knee on top of left heel. Your right toes are untucked. Can you press into the top of the right foot and lift the right knee up any amount? Think of tucking tailbone, pulling shoulders back on top of hips. And if you want a little bit more, arms reach up overhead. Be here for 5. Okay, as you lower the right knee down to the floor, now lean it out. Bend into the right knee and squeeze the right heel into the glutes. And then lower the right leg. Right shin to tap the mat. 2 more times, right heel squeezes into glutes. You lower it down. 1 more time, right heel squeezes into glutes, pause as you get there, hold your depth, squeeze it in even a little bit more than that. And with the right toes lifted, you cross over the top of the block, pivoting right toes to the left. Drop the left forearm to the top of the left thigh and just lean into this. Again, maybe right arm reaches up and over, you're in this kind of funky side angle shape. Okay, straighten through the left leg. Pivot the left foot parallel to the short edge of the mat. Right hand comes to the block. Block is going to stay exactly where it is for now. Press into the right hand, press into the left foot. Can you lift the right knee up off the floor? Drive the right heel to the space behind you and the right shin towards the right wrist. And then lower the right knee all the way down. Grip the fingertips around the block with the right hand. Legs are gonna stay as they are. As you lift the upper body, bring the block with you. Left hand slides down the left thigh. And as the right arm reaches up and over, I want you to reach a place where the block can just kind of balance on top of the palm. Utilizing it for a little extra weight to bring length up the right side. All right, grip the fingertips around the block. We're gonna lower it all the way back down exactly where it came from in a count of 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Left fingertips reach up and over, length up and down the left side. Legs stay as they are just for one more moment. Can you lift the upper body up? Bring it back up to standing on the legs as they are. Out the way we came in, left toes pivot to the top of the mat, left knee bends. Right heel squeezes into the glutes. Right toes lift up and over the block, and if you need to kind of maneuver your way there, you can. And now, as you straighten through the left leg, pull the hips all the way back down to the block. All right, our last little bit here. Hands to the base of the skull, elbows wide. Tall through the spine, and start to find the twists left and right and left and right. Maybe you close down the eyes. Pick up your pace. Here for another 10. Final 5. Find middle. Reopen the eyes as you drive the elbows wide and then hinge at the hips as you reach the heart towards the top of the left thigh. And all the way back up to the top. And then a couple more times you hinge it forward and drive it up. Hinge it forward and to the top. Last time, find your depth and hold there. You might even cactus out the elbows here. Bring arms towards airplane wings. Take an in-breath. As you exhale, soften into the fold, a little bit more passive, just for a breath or two. Again, toes pull back towards you. Left pinky toe pulls towards left outer hip. And then walk the hands back towards you, coming up to a seat. Dig the left heel into the mat. Feel that fire up the back line of the left leg, and then slide the left heel up the mat all the way in. Plant the left foot to the floor. Drive into the feet as they are and bring it all the way to stand. Tuck tailbone, engage glutes. Re-bend into the knees, you lower it down. Drive it all the way to the top. And then bend the knees, you lower down. Our last one, all the way to the top. Sweep the arms up and over. Left hand grabs the right wrist. Lift up and out and lean left. Back through center. Bend the knees and lower it down. All right, our last little bit here. Left shin sweeps around. Let's move the block out of the way. And if you want to scoot forward on your mat, you can. You can stay exactly where you're at as well. To start here, let's tuck onto the toes, sit the hips to the heels. Feel into the bottoms of the feet, see if you can get all 10 toes to really grip the mat. And then find a bit of a lean back. Can you lift the knees from the floor? Drive the heels into the mat and lift the hips up, forward fold. And we're gonna move back and forth a couple times. This will be our last little bit. Drop the hips to the heels, lift the heels, lean back, knees to the floor. This time, untuck the toes. Sit to the tops of the feet, lean back, lift the shins from the floor. Okay, 2 more times for that whole thing. Shins to the mat, tuck the toes. All good if you're at a different pace. That's part of the game. Lift the knees, drop the heels, lift the hips. Bend the knees, lift the heels, lean back, Drop the knees, untuck the toes, sit to heels, lean back, lift the shins. Drop the shins, tuck the toes, lean back, lift the knees, drop the heels, lift the hips. Hang out in your forward folds, walk the feet a little wide, clasp opposite elbows. I'm going to leave us here in a forward fold. Give yourself some time here or continue playing. Let me know how this one felt for you, and if you want more of these mobility drops, I appreciate you being here, and I'll see you in the next one.